So good morning everyone. Let us discuss the last topic of Unit 4 in Web Technologies. So we are discussing Unit 4, which is nothing but PHP in Web Technologies. So we are discussing the last topic of Unit 4 in Web Technologies. So what is that? Working with forms and database. We need to work with the forms in addition with databases. So working with forms and databases is the last topic of Unit 4 PHP in Web Technologies. For that, here we have a client and server, and we are going to use initially hypertext transfer protocol, which will act as a request and response protocol between the client and server. We have the server mission, we have the client. These both want to be in communication. Server and client want to be in communication in the form of messages or in the form of data. Nothing but transferring the data packets. Now I am telling you about working with the forms and databases. So obviously this server can be a database also. Generally what we will have? Generally we will have a sender, we will have a receiver. So sender will send something, receiver will receive it. Whatever the receiver want, he will request the sender to give that. General phenomena. But here we are talking about the forms and databases. So obviously we need to collect the data from database. So to collect the data from database, we must put the request. We must put the request. So getting the data from database is response. So Unit 4 Web Technologies, last topic, working with forms and databases. This database can also be called as a server mission sometimes. If you want to get anything from the server, you should request. Getting that from the server is called as response. So we have a client mission, we have a server. This client will be requesting the so what this client will do? Client will send a request for server. This server will give a response. So for this request and response between the client and server, we are using the protocol called as hypertext transfer protocol, which is the protocol in application layer. So hypertext protocol layer, hypertext transfer protocol. So this hypertext transfer protocol is called as HTTP. HTTP we can observe in application layer. Where we got the application layer? From OSI model. So we have the concept of computer networks. In computer networks we have the concept of OSI model. In OSI model we have different layers. In that different layers we have application layer. In application layer we have HTTP, hypertext transfer protocol, which protocol is used for the communication between client and server. So the request and response between client and server is happened with the help of hypertext transfer protocol, which is the part of application layer. So why we are using this HTTP protocol? We have the client mission, we have the server mission. If client want to get anything from the database, client will put a request and server will give the response. Database will give the response. For this request and response between client and server, we are using hypertext transfer. We are using hypertext transfer protocol, which is the protocol of application layer. So the next one, general HTTP request format and HTTP response format. General. So generally how we have the HTTP request and response format. So see, we have the client and we have the server, and we have the request format also. So client mission, server mission, HTTP hypertext transfer protocol format. This format is for having the request. So client want to put a request to database. If client want to put a request to database, what is the format? So request line, general headers, request headers, entity headers, message body. All this will be called as HTTP request protocol. So request line, general headers, request headers, entity headers, message body is optional and message body also. So what is the format? Request line, general headers, request headers, entity headers, message body. This is the request format. Let us see what is the response format also. So this is the response. So response is given by database to, response is given by server to database to client. So in response what we have? Status line, general headers, response headers, entity headers, message body. This is the response format. So only difference is in request format we will have request headers. In response format we will have response headers. In HTTP request format we will have request headers. That is client is requesting the database. In HTTP response format we will have response headers, where this server is giving response to the client. So let us see how we can submit a form data to database. If you are the client, you want to submit data to database, that is submitting form data to database. How you can submit? See, using get or post method. So we can use get or post method to submit the data. Next topic is submission of form data. Client want to submit data to database. Client want to submit data to database. For this submission, we can use either get method or post method. So if you want to submit the data to server or if you want to submit the data to database, you can use get method or post method. See now how this get method and post method will work. So this is how get method will work. So you have a login page. In this login page you have username and password. Username is VLISTS and password. Using the login button you have login. Now this username and password using get method should be stored in the server, nothing but database. So we have the login page, login.jsp. JavaScript page we have. JavaScript pages we will save with the extension JSP. JavaScript pages we will save with the extension JSP. Now we have the login page. In the login page we have username and password. Username is VLITS, password also we have. Using the login button we are logging in. Now using the get, we are storing that in the server database. So this is the JavaScript page. So we have saved it as JSP. So input type text is taken for name. Input type password is taken for password. So method, what method we are using? Get method. What is the action we should perform? Logging into the login page. What is the action that we are performing? Login into login page. What is the method we are using? Get method. So get method adds the parameter names and values at the end of URL. Get method. So see here. Get method will add the username and password to the URL. Username and password are the parameters. These parameters are added to the URL. This is the URL. www.example.com login JSP. That is the URL. For that URL, uniform resource locator. URL means uniform resource locator. For this URL, get method will add our parameters. What are our parameters? Username and password. So do not use the get method to send the sensitive data such as passwords. Get method is used to send non-sensitive data. Get method is used to send limited amount of data. So get method is used to send limited amount of data. We cannot send the sensitive information like passwords using get method. Get method is used to send the non-sensitive data. So what is our main task here? We have the client mission, we have the server mission. Server can also be treated as the database. Now if you want to get data from database, you should put a request. Then if you get the data, that is response. For request and response, we are using HTTP protocol, which is in the application layer. And using that protocol, how can you implement this request and response? Using two methods, get or post. In that, first one is get method. So I have created a login page, login.jsp, because it is JavaScript program. So JSP. Next, I have the parameters like username and password. While we are using the get method, the parameters are added to the URL. Get method is used only for non-sensitive data. Get method is not suitable for sending the sensible data like passwords. Only limited amount of data we can send using the get method. So here username real IDs, password real IDs is our parameters. These parameters are added to the URL because we are using the get method. And it is not possible to send the large amount of data also using get method. So for passwords it is not suitable. So let us see. Next point. So this is the next point using get method. While we are using the get method, the length of the URL should not exceed 2 KB. So while we are using the get method, the length of the URL should not exceed 2 KB. 2 KB means 2048 characters. So already your parameters will be added to your URL. So whatever parameters you take in the login page, all the parameters will be added to your URL. So your URL length should not exceed 2 KB, means 2048 characters. If you see here, I have given the password as, I have given the username as Vignal Lara and password as VLITS. Now this username and password also will be attached to your URL. So that length of your URL is increasing. If the length of your URL increase, get method we cannot use. In get method, the length of the URL should be only 2048 characters. So what example you have taken username Vignal Lara, password VLITS and some URL, in that you have 53 characters. See, you can see here the counting of characters like this. From www.example.com to VLITS password, we have counted the characters of URL. Now till login.jsp only our URL, but parameters also added to the URL. Since all the length of that URL is 53, but the condition is while we are using the get method, our URL size should not increase 2048 characters. So we have the client and the client will be requesting and doing responses between server. We have the username Vignal Lara and password VLITS. Whatever the parameters you include in your login page, those will be added to your URL. But the condition is that when you are using the get method, your URL should not exceed the 2048 characters. So the next one, using post method. So what are the parameters we have in the post method? So till now what we have seen, what is the format of, what is the request format in get method, what is the request formatting, response formatting get method we have seen, get method. Now what is the post method? So in post method also we have the request format, that is request line, general headers, request headers, entity headers, message body. So we have post method, we have get method also. For these methods we have two formats, request format response format. So we have two different types of methods, get and post. For the two different types of methods, we have two different formats, request format, response format. In the request format, what the parameters we have? Request line, general header, request headers, entity address and message body. So VLIDS is your username, VLIDS is your password. This we have created the login page in the server, taking the input type text for username, input type password for the password, and method we are using is here post. So post method we are using, so I have written the form method post, and action is logging into login page. What is the method we are using here? Post method we are using. So let us see. So first topic, working with forms and databases. To work with form and database, if you client want to submit a form to the database, we need the protocol, hypertext transfer protocol. Then we have the methods like get and post. So get and post methods are used to post the forms into database. For that we have some request format and response format. So how you can submit the data using get method or post method. So see the example using get method. In the program you have to mention method is get and action is login page. So in the program you have to mention method is get and action is logging into page. We have some drawbacks using get method. So parameters are added to the URL. It is not used for passwords. It can send only limited amount of data. The length of the URL should be only 2048 characters. So if the length of the URL exceeds, get method will not work. So next go into the post method. In post method also same thing we are doing. We are taking the username, password, we are creating the login page and we are posting that into database using the post method. So in program we have to mention method is post and action is logging into page. In post method also we have the format for request header, that is request format. Request line, general headers, request headers, entity address and message body. So for post method also we have some response headers also. What we mean response headers? Response status, general headers and response headers and entity headers will be there and message will be there. So let us see about post method. What will happen in post method? Post method adds the parameter names and values in HTTP header. So what is the difference between get and post? Get will add the parameters to URL. Post will add the parameters to HTTP header. So post method is used to send sensitive data. Post method can send unlimited amount of data. So we have two different methods to send data. One is get and one is post. In the get we have so let us see here. So we have two different methods, get method and post method. So these two are used to submit the data to database. But we have some drawbacks with get method. So post method we are going to overcome all those. So we are creating the login page using username and password and we are storing the data in the database. What is the difference between get method and post method? Get method will add the parameters to URL, but post method will add the parameters to HTTP header. Using post method we can send sensitive matter. Means using post method we can send passwords also. Post method is beneficial for sending passwords also. Then post method you can send unlimited number of data. Using the post method you can send unlimited number of data. Let us see the example. How the login page is created. So see here, I am creating the HTML program. So I have opened the HTML tags, I have created the body and I am creating the forms with the username and password, and I have the submit and reset buttons. So what all the tags I should open, I should close. So username is VLITS, password is also VLITS, and after executing this, we are getting the object not found error. Why we are getting this? Because we are using the post method where the parameters are not added to, see here. In the get method, parameters are added to URL. If you use the post method, parameters will be added to header, HTTP header. So, action what we are doing, what action we are performing here, get. What login page we need to, action performed here is login page, method used is get, and creating the username and password using the some buttons. So, for this we got the object not found error. So, let us see example with post. See, using the post method also we got object not found error only, because see here, created the HTML program, created the forms and bodies, and the action performing here is login page with the method post. So now also the username and password are not added to URL, they are added to HTTP header. So after executing this, we will get some object not found error using the post method also. So now let us see what is the solution for this. So the disadvantages in the get method are overcome by post method. In post method also we have some disadvantages. So this is how we submit the data to database. So the next concept is retrieving the data. Okay, you submit it. How you can again retrieve the data? So see here, we are talking about PHP. In PHP we are talking about databases. How to connect this data, how to connect this client mission to database. Using PHP, how we can connect this client to database, how we can store the data, how we can request. So for that we have the methods like post, get. Next one is retrieving the form data, means you want to get the response from database. Till now what we have done, we have the client mission and we have the server also. Till now what we have done, this client is requesting the database. For this request is nothing but submission of data or storing the data. For that we have get and post. Now response we need, response from database to client. For this response we are calling it as retrieving of data. For this response in PHP will have three different functions for retrieving of data: post, get and request. Post function, get function and request function, these three functions are used to retrieve the data from database. So let us see how the post will work. We have the username and password. The method we are using is post. So two predefined associative arrays of PHP post and request receive data from the web browser. So using the post, username VLITS and password is given to the from web browser to web server. See here, from now onwards we will call the client as web browser. From now onwards we will call the client as web browser. He created a login page, he created the username, password and he submitted. Using the post method in PHP, this username and password is given to web server. So see here, PHP post method we are using VLITS password and VLITS username. If it is correct, login successful. If it is not correct, wrong username and wrong password. So what the program should be? Username is VLITS, password is also VLITS. We have created the login page, we have given the username and password and we are submitting all this data to database. So web browser is nothing but client. From next time onwards, whenever the people want to log in, if they give the username and password as VLITS and VLITS, then the login will be successful. Otherwise, you will get the message as wrong name and wrong password, wrong username and wrong password. So let us see the output. Login successful. So this is the output. First I have given username and password to database. I have created the login page. From then onwards, whenever the browsers or whenever the clients want to log in again, they will open the login page and give the username and password. If they give correct username and password, we will get the message as login successful. So you can see here localhost login.html, localhost login.php. So using HTML we have created the login page. In the PHP we got the output as login successful. Let us see the same example using get method. The only difference here is we are using the method as get to retrieve the data. Same we have created the username, again we have created the password also. This username and password are given to the web server. In web browser we have created login page with username and password using get method, and we have given to the server this username and password. So now what is the output? If the credentials are given correctly, we will get the login successful message. If the credentials are wrong, we will get sorry, the username and password are wrong. So both using the get method also we are creating the login page in HTML and we are getting the output in PHP as login success. So let us see the same example using request. So let us see the same example using request function. Here with the method we are not bothering. Whether the method is get method or whether the method is post method, we are not at all bothering. So an array will be created. In that array we will have the username and passwords. So using request method, using request function, we are creating the third one. So username VLITS, password VLITS we have created, and login page also we have created. Web browser is nothing but the client. Here we are not bothering about what method we are using, doesn't matter. Whether you use get method or post method, it doesn't matter. The username and password are given to the web server, that is PHP program. In this program also we are using request function. If the credentials are correct, we will get login successful. If the credentials are wrong, we will get wrong username and password. These credentials are not added to URL, the credentials are not added to HTTP header also. They are added to array. So we are using, we are using request function. So we are not considering whether which method to be used. Just the credentials, login and giving that PHP page to web server. If the credentials are correct, we will get login successful, otherwise we will get wrong username and password. Here we are not adding this username and password to URL, we are not adding this username and password to HTTP header also. We will maintain an array. In that array we will have username and password. So what will be the output for this? So this will be the output for this. So we have the username, we have the password and submit buttons also. This is HTML program to create login page. If these credentials are correct, we will get the output in the PHP as login successful. So this is the output for request function. So let us see one more example where the username and password are created using the post method, and array is created. In array the first element is username and second element is password. If you see here, we are using the method post. We created username and password and buttons. But using the post method also we are creating array here. We are not adding the parameters to HTTP header. So what we can do, we have given this PHP program, login.php program to server. In that what we have, this is the array A with A of 0 and A of 1. This A of 0 is username and A of 1 is password. So A of 0 is username, A of 1 is password. So using the post method also we are creating the array where A of 0 and A of 1 are username and passwords. Previously if you use post method, the parameters will go and add to HTTP header. Previously, if you use the post method, the username and password will go and attach to HTTP header. But here, using the post method also, we are creating the array, and the username and password are stored in the array as a of 0 is username, a of 1 is password. Rest everything is same, the output will be same. If username and password is correct, login successful. The output also will be same. So this is what retrieving the data. So till now what we have discussed. So we have started unit 4 and we have completed all the topics. Last topic is working with forms and databases. For that we need HTTP. For that we have some formats, we have some methods like get and post, and we have some request format and response format also. So this is of submitting the data. Then if you want to retrieve the data, you have the three methods: post, get and request. In every method you are creating the arrays, and in array you are storing the username and password. So finally whatever method you use, you are not bothering about the method, but you are creating the array, and in array you are storing the username and password. So output also you will get, if the credentials are correct, you will get login successful, otherwise login was not successful. So now how you can store the data in database. So let us see what are the different types of databases we have. Oracle, MySQL, DB2, MongoDB, Microsoft SQL Server, Teradata, Skybase. So different types of databases we have. In that some examples are Oracle, DB2, MongoDB, Microsoft SQL Server, Teradata, Skybase. These are the different types of databases we have. So what are the different types of databases we have? Oracle, DB2, MySQL Server, so Skybase, Teradata, MongoDB. These are the different types of databases we have to store the data. So let us see how we can connect a PHP page to MySQL database using JAM server. So if you want to connect a PHP page to MySQL database using JAM server, so what you should do for that, see here. You want to connect PHP page to MySQL database using JAM server. So for that you have the following statement. Connection variable equal to new MySQL I, host name, username, password, database name. You have to give host name, username, password, database name to the new MySQL using connection variable. So host name is localhost. In this above syntax, host name will always be localhost, username will always be root, and password is empty. Database name you should give, whether Vignan can be a database name. So see here, if you want to connect a PHP page to the MySQL database using JAM server, you have the statement. What that statement is: connection variable, new MySQL, host name, username, password and database. So in this there are predefined values. Host name is always localhost, username is root always, password is empty, we don't have any password, and database name will be changing depending upon the database you need to store the data. So you can check that there is no password here. If you don't have the password, storing the data in database is not a good practice. Without password, storing the data in database is not a good one. So let us create the password for that. First of all, we want to connect the PHP page to the MySQL database server using JAMP. So for that we have connection variable, new MySQL, host name, username, password and database. Host name will always be localhost only, username will always be root, and we don't have any password here. So having no password and storing the data in database is a not good thing. So we are going to create the password for that. So how can you create a password in MySQL database? So first of all, you need to open the control panel in JAM and you need to start the Apache and MySQL. See here, Apache is in the stop state, MySQL is in the stop state. Open the JAMP server control panel and start the Apache and MySQL. For changing the password in MySQL, first you need to open control panel and you need to start the Apache and MySQL. So after starting, you need to click on the admit button related to MySQL. So see here we have Apache and we have MySQL. So we have started both of them. After starting, next one is admin button. So you want to click on admin button related to MySQL. Second step is click on the admin button related to MySQL. So that one you can see here. This one you have to click on the admin button related to MySQL. Next, click on the user accounts. What is the third one? You should click on the user accounts here. So open control panel, start Apache and MySQL, click on admin, open control panel, start MySQL and Apache, click on admin, then click on user accounts. So after clicking on, this is the output screen, how it will be there. This is PHP MyAdmin. Now we are in PHP MyAdmin. So localhost is our name. So see here, localhost, host name we have, username we have, password we have. Password we are creating now. So host name is localhost, username is root. We have to start Apache and MySQL first. Then you want to click on the admin, which is near to MySQL. Then you should click on user accounts. When you people click on user accounts, this will be the output screen and you will have the page like this. Then click on edit privileges when username is host and host name is localhost, password is no. So as I already said you, username is root, host name is localhost and there is no password, no. So when we see the password, no. See here, username should be localhost, username should be root and it should be localhost and password no. If you see the conditions here, we have different usernames and we have different host name also, but password is always no. But you should see the condition, username should be root. Username should be root and the local host name should be localhost and password should be no. All these three conditions should meet. So after clicking on user accounts, we will get like this. So when we get like this, we should click on edit privileges. What edit privileges? We have so many edit privileges here. Upon which we should click? Username should be root, host name should be localhost, password should be no. So anyhow password is no for all of them. So username should be root. We have different usernames also, we don't want that. And we want that host name localhost. So all these conditions are meeting here. Root, localhost, password no. So you should click on this last edit privileges. You should click on that last edit privileges. So check for the condition where your username is root and your host name is localhost, password is no. So all that conditions are met in the last one. So you should click on the edit privileges here. This is the step 4. So after clicking on edit privileges, you will get a output screen like this. In this output screen, you have the option like change password. See, you can see change password option here. So when you have to click on user accounts, then you have to click on edit privileges, then you have to click on change password, then you can change the password. So enter the password as root, re-enter the password as root, but do not click on generate button, you should click on go button. See, if you see, we have generate button here, we should not click on that. We have go button here, we should click on this and we should enter the password as root, password as root only. We should give password also root, and we should not generate the password. We should go with our own password root. So this is the procedure to change the password. So let us see. So first you want to connect a PHP page to the MySQL database server using JAMP server. For that you have a statement like connection variable new MySQL, host name, username, password, database name. So host name is localhost, username is root. We don't have a password. Having no password is not good, so we are going to create the password. For that, first of all, you need to open the control panel. You need to start the Apache and MySQL. Then you need to click on the admin button which is related to MySQL. If you are admin, then only you can create the password. So you need to click on the admin button of MySQL. Then you need to click on user accounts. In the user accounts, we will have the data. What is the username, what is the host name, and what is password. So whenever we have the username root and host name localhost, and when we don't have the password, that condition we have to check, and we need to click on the edit privileges. Then there we can find the change password option. Here we can change the password to root. So my new password is root. I have to type 2 times, and I should not click on generate button. I should click on go button. This is how I will create a password in MySQL database. So let us see how to create this. So go to JAMP, C drive, JAMP PHP myadmin and open config PHP file. Step 7. After that you have to replace this statement with this. Means you will have the statement with config. That statement you have to change with cookie. And you want to replace the statement of password double quotations with password root. So these 2 changes you have to do. After clicking on go button, we have one more step. You should open C drive, you should open JAMP folder, you should open PHP myadmin. You should open config.inc PHP file. In that config.ifg PHP file, we will have the statement like servers $i authentication type config. That should be changed to servers $i authentication type cookie. And one more change, we will have servers $i password nothing. That we should change to servers $i password root. So these 2 changes you have to do. So after clicking the go button here, what is the next step? You want to open C drive, JAMP folder, PHP myadmin, and you have to open the file config.inc PHP file. Then you need to replace this config with cookie, and you need to replace that password with root. Then see how you can open using the password. You can log in. Type the URL http localhost php myadmin. You should type the URL http localhost php myadmin. If you type this URL in the address bar of web browser, click on the admin button related to MySQL in JAMP control panel. Then type the username as root and password as root and click on the go button. So after doing all these things, what you should do? You should open a browser. In that browser you should type the URL as http localhost php myadmin. You should click on the admin button which is related to MySQL in the JAMP control panel. Then you should type username and password as root and you should click on the go button. So this is how you can do. So after following all the steps and after changing the password, how you can log in? You must type the URL http localhost php myadmin in web browser, and or else you can click the admin button related to MySQL in the control panel and type the username and password as root also. You have 2 ways to log in. Either you can open MySQL, click on admin and you can give the username and password, or directly you can type the URL in the web browser also. So let us see. So for connecting the PHP page to MySQL, we have the statement where the host name is localhost, username is root and password we don't have anything. Now we need to create the password. For that we have started the Apache and MySQL in Jamf server, and we have click on the admin button related to MySQL. Then we have click on the user accounts. Then we have to check the privileges, edit privileges we have to click. For that, username should be root and the local host name should be localhost and password is no. Then we should click on the edit privileges. Then we have the change password option. There you can enter the password as root and you have to click on go button. Then you need to change two things. You should open the config.ing php file and you should change that config to cookie. You should change that password to root. Now after doing all these things, you can enter using the username as root and password as root. Using both username and password as root, you can log in into two different ways. Either you can type the URL in the web browser, or you can click on the admit button in MySQL of control panel and type the username and password and you can log in. This is how you can change the password in MySQL. First we will not have the password. We have only username and host name. Then we have created the password. We have changed the password, and after that how you can log in? Open the web browser and type the URL like http localhost php myadmin. Then you will get the login page. There you can type username and password. Otherwise, you can open the control panel MySQL and you can click on admin. Then you can give the username and password and click on the go button. Like that also you can, like this, using this also you can log into the MySQL using the password as root. So the next one is how to create the database named as Blood Donor Information System under Jamf server. So the next topic is how you can create a database. Name of the database is BDIS, Blood Donors Information System. Using Jamf server you need to create this database. So what the Jamf partially? X means cross compatibility, A means Apache, M means Maria database, MySQL. P means PHP, and P means Perl. So for PHP and for Perl, these both we are using the Jamf server. Jamf is nothing but cross compatibility, Apache, MySQL database, PHP and Perl. So using this Jamf server, you need to create a database named Blood Donor Information System. So BDIS, which is Blood Donor Information System, this database should be created using Jamf server. Where the Jamf server can be a cross compatibility Apache, MySQL database, PHP and Perl. So let us see. First step, you have to start Apache and MySQL. So to create a Blood Donor Information System database in Jamf server, you should open the Jamf control panel. So Jamf control panel you should open, version is 3.2.2. In that you have to start Apache and MySQL. Here you have the stop, you should start them. See, rest of the options also you can see, config and admin. So you have to start them. So FileZilla, Mercury, Tomcat, they are in start position. FileZilla, Mercury, Tomcat, some other programs are in start position. This Apache and MySQL also you should start. So open control panel of Jamf panel, start the Apache and MySQL. First step. After starting, what you have to do? You have to click on the admin button of MySQL in the control panel. So now we are creating a database. To create the database, first I have started Apache and MySQL in control panel, Jamf control panel. Then the admin related to MySQL, I am clicking on the admin. The admin which is related to MySQL, I am clicking on that admin. Then if you had set a password to MySQL, you will be directed to this page. If before the password is set, directly you will be given to login page. Otherwise, if the password is not set, you will be given to this page. Remember, I told you how to create a password before. If the password is already created, you will be directed to the login page. If the password is not generated, you will be directed to this the PHP MyAdmin page. Password is not generated before, then you will be directed to PHP MyAdmin page. There you have to click on user accounts, you have to click on edit privileges, and you have to change the password. Otherwise, if the password is already set, you will be directed to login page where you can give the username and password as root and click on go. So first you have to start Apache and MySQL. After starting Apache and MySQL, you need to click on admin button of MySQL. Then if the password is already set, you will be directed to login page. There you should give the username and password as root and you can go. If the password is not set till now, you will be directed to the PHP MyAdmin page. There you have to click on user accounts, edit privileges and change the password. So password is already generated. So when the password is already generated, you should click on the databases. So you should click on the databases option. So you can see the databases option here in the starting. So first option is databases, you should click on that if the password is already created. So after clicking on the databases, you can see here, enter the database name as VDIS and click on the create button. Here you have the create database option. You can give the database name as VDIS and you can click on the create button. Then the VDIS database will be created. So click on the databases. There you have the option like create database and database name. Give the database name as. So click on the databases. There you have the option like create database and give the database name. There give the database name as VDIS and click on create. Then you can see the database created here VDIS. So you will be directed to the following page. You can see the database VDIS is created successfully. So database VDIS created successfully. So in that database you have the option to create table name with number of columns. So first you have to click on databases option. Then you have the option like create database, give the database name and create. Click on the create button. So you can give the database name as VDIS. Then successfully the VDIS database is created. Now you will have the option like create table name with number of columns. So VDIS is successfully created. See here VDIS table is successfully created. Now you can create the tables, how many number of tables you want, how many number of rows you want. You can create the table like this. See, you will be directed to the following page. Enter the name, type and length of the column and you should click on the save button. So you should enter what is the name of the table, how many columns you want. Then you should enter what is the name of the column, what is the length of the column and here you have the save button. You should click on the save button. So after clicking on the save button, you can see the tables also like this. So username and password are created in the table. See. VDIS database is created. Username and password are created in the table of the database. VDIS is my database. In that I have created the table. In table I have given the username and password. If you want to add the rows, if you want to add the columns, you have the options also. So this is how we will create the database of VDIS. So for creating the database of VDIS, you need to first start the Apache and MySQL. Then you need to click on the admin button of MySQL. Then if the password is created, you will directly go to the login page. If the password is not created, it will ask you to create the password by clicking on user accounts. If the password is created giving the username and password as root, you can log in. If the password is created in this page, you can give the username and password as root and you can click on the databases. When you click on the databases, it will ask for the create database name. You can give the name as VDIS or whatever you want and you can click on the create. Then the database is created successfully. Now you need to create the tables in that. So you can also create the tables in that with the desired number of attributes, names, length. Then finally the table also will be displayed. For that you need to click on the save option here. When the table is created, you should save the table. Finally you can display the table, and if you want to add any number of columns to that, you can add also. So what all we have discussed today? So how to work with the forms and databases. What are the general HTTP request format and response format? How you can submit the data to the database using get method and post method? What are the disadvantages of get method? How you can overcome using that post method? How you can retrieve the data from form? So post, get, request are the functions for retrieving the data from the form. What are the syntaxes and examples for that functions? What are the different types of databases we have? How we can change the password in the MySQL? How you can create the blood donor information system database? This is what we have discussed today. So by this we have completed unit 4. Thank you.
Okay, madam.